She strikes fear in scientists, envy in white lab rats, and hope in the hearts of bakers everywhere. Make sure to stick around to the end so that you can vote on who'll star in the next episode, but first, this is Gaming Chronicles Villains. Who is GLaDOS? After dealing with GLaDOS for the first time, many people who played Portal felt a certain amount of nostalgia dating back to HAL 9000 from 2001: A Space Odyssey. She was reminiscent of that rogue AI in a few ways, up to and including the infamous camera eye, but unlike her male Hollywood counterpart, so much more was going on behind the scenes. When Portal was released, players marveled at the cruel antagonist that they were pitted against. GLaDOS, or the genetic Lifeform and disk operating system, with her text-to-speech modeled voice and witty, vicious, and often passive-aggressive quips about the player's performance and weight, brings all the character and intrigue that the Portal universe needed.
Most people emerge from suspension terribly undernourished. I want to congratulate you on beating the odds and somehow managing to pack on a few pounds.
She is a computer AI in total control of the Aperture testing facility, a facility with only one purpose: science. We all love a bit of science, but GLaDOS loves science like Grandma loves Candy Crush. Portal 1 came out in October of 2007, and Portal 2 followed quickly by Valve time standards in April 2011. GLaDOS appears in both, as well as the comics Lab Rat and Randolph the Red-Nosed Turret, but also surprisingly was given a major nod as a Valve-approved voice in the Pacific Rim trailer. I'd show some of that to you, but well, copyright and fair use on YouTube are special, and sometimes it's better to be happy than right. The music in Portal and Portal 2 is by and large ambient, lending to the focus a player often requires in order to solve the various testing initiative puzzles. Kelly Bailey and Mike Moraski were responsible for the vast majority of the ambient portions, even including some procedurally generated tunes for the listener's delicate ears, but it was Jonathan Coulton who really stole the hearts of everyone with his sardonic take on the emotions of GLaDOS. In a world oversaturated with male-dominated gruff and powerful voices, the text-to-speech styled voiceover done by Ellen McLean was like a cool rain on a hot summer day. I'm not entirely certain what it is with Valve and Silent Protagonist, but Chell, the voice-absent player character in Portal and Portal 2, serves as a virtual punching bag for GLaDOS. Portal 1 focused primarily on a very basic story of the Aperture Science facility where, long abandoned by its employees, the rogue AI continues testing alone deep underground.
When the testing is over, you will be missed.
In Portal 2, the player unwittingly reawakens GLaDOS and replaces her as the facility core with the inept Wheatley, who proceeds to dump Chell and GLaDOS into the bowels of Aperture, but not before assigning GLaDOS to the fate of being attached to a potato battery. And this is where the history of GLaDOS becomes really intriguing. Remember Cave Johnson, the CEO of Aperture Science? If not, he's the guy who does the lemon rant in Portal 2. Well, Cave had a personal assistant named Caroline back in the early days of Aperture.
I'm Cave Johnson. I own the place. That eager voice you heard is the lovely Carolyn, my assistant. Rest assured she has transferred your honorarium to the charitable organization of your choice. Isn't that right, Carolyn?
Yes, sir, Mr. Johnson.
She's the backbone of this facility. Pretty as a postcard, too. Sorry, fellas. She's married. To science.
Caroline had only a few audible lines in the otherwise Cave Johnson-centric dialogue, but throughout the dialogue it becomes apparent that Cave intends to put her personality and intellect into the core of the Aperture facility, whether she wants to or not. Originally, he had intended for his own mind to become the AI controlling the facility, but exposure to moon rocks addled his brain, resulting in first, the lemon rant, and second, his untimely death in about the mid-1980s.
If I die before you people can pour me into a computer, I want Carolyn to run this place. Now she'll argue. She'll say she can't. She's modest like that, but you make her. Hell, put her in my computer. I don't care. All right, test's over. You can head on back to your test.
Goodbye, sir.
Throughout the Underground Depths portion of Portal 2, GLaDOS becomes more aware of her connection to Cave Johnson and eventually realizes who Caroline was and is. Now, just to take your conspiracy caps and throw them into a jumbled pile on the floor, Caroline is the German feminine derivative of Carolus or Charles, the Latin name that means free man. Totally unrelated to my video topic, but interesting nonetheless. There is also the Prometheus connection, you know, the Greek story of the guy who gave knowledge to mankind and was punished by being chained to a rock to be eaten partially by an eagle for eternity, while less grandiose, being attached to a potato and pecked at by a crow is actually an amusing nod to Greek mythology. There is significant speculation among the Portal community about the history of Caroline Cave Johnson and Chell. Some suggest that Chell is the daughter of the Aperture CEO and his assistant, but there's a couple of issues with that theory. For starters, neither Cave nor Caroline are Asian, while Chell certainly appears to be. A Bring Your Daughter to Work Day Science Fair potato battery project with Chell's name on it dating to the 1998 story activation of GLaDOS for the first time does put a reasonable timeline on Chell and would peg her born in around the late 80s. Johnson did live into the 1980s but would have been both old and sick, which makes a blood relation between the three very unlikely. However, a competing and more compelling theory places Chell as Caroline's daughter, who was raised by an Aperture employee due to Caroline being implanted inside the GLaDOS AI. This is evidenced by Chell being allowed at such a young age to be spared the neurotoxin fate, as well as the plethora of times GLaDOS mentions Chell is adopted.
Initiating surprise in 3, 2, 1. I made it all up. Surprise. Oh, come on. If it makes you feel any better, they abandoned you at birth. So I very seriously doubt they'd even want to see you.
In addition to that, GLaDOS comments how alike Chell and Caroline were, and of course there are the translated words of the Turret song at the end of Portal 2, "My dear child." Whatever the case, upon reliving memories as Caroline, GLaDOS obviously becomes more attached and emotional with regard to Chell, and in what appears to be the last vestige of motherly love, sends Chell to the surface to be out on her own, both likely for the benefit of Chell, but also to protect her from the Aperture Enrichment Center and protect her from herself. So, who is GLaDOS? A billionaire's personal assistant's mind placed against her will in a passive-aggressive, rogue homicidal artificial intelligence in charge of a facility testing orphaned members of employee families in the name of science. Sounds like a fun place. The more you know.
The only thing you've managed to break so far is my heart.
Gaming Chronicles needs you, the viewer, to choose the next famous video game character. Each episode, you will get to vote between one hero and one villain that will be the target of the next video. Your choices are, drumroll please, Lara Croft from the Tomb Raider series and Arthas Menethil from the Warcraft universe. Click the annotation to register your vote. I want to take the time to thank you for watching my videos. It really means a lot to me, and for those that feel like this content is worth subscribing for, I will always endeavor to make new exciting material for you to watch. Remember, the next episode is chosen by you. This series is a bit of an experiment for me, so please do give any feedback that you have down in the comment section. Again, thanks for watching. Cheers, and I'll see you for the next one. Bye-bye.